This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, Day 5 of the Iowa State Fair. I'm Dustin Hoffman, just on the north side of the dairy barn next to the show arena right here. It's been another great day. As you can see, the steers will be coming up behind me here in just a few moments. We're going to have a chance to talk with Theresa Greenfield. She is the Iowa State Director of the USDA Rural Development. We'll also have a check of that ag weather outlook. A little cool today, a lot more jackets and less shorts out there today. In fact, I'm punishing myself already for not bringing jeans today. But it is a cooler day, but don't worry, the heat's going to come back. We'll take a look at that. Plus, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to talk with Robin Schmall of agmarket.net. Robin, kind of a quiet day in corn, a little more active in soybeans. What did we see?
Yeah, well, initially, I guess overnight there was a lot of concern, what was going to develop off of this Russia, firing a warning shot over the bow of a cargo ship. But it really didn't turn out to be anything. There was some boarding there. They did some inspection. They let the ship go on again. So that so the strength that we saw a little bit in corn at the start, wheat, that kind of petered out and moved back toward basically what the fundamentals are suggesting right now. And so we did see some pretty good pressure on wheat throughout the day. Corn really didn't do a whole lot. Yeah, soybeans found the support they needed, and I think some of that stemmed from the WSDA report on Friday. Even though the numbers were pretty much in line with what the trade had expected, reducing some of the production, reducing some of the yield potential there. So we've got one of the things with the soybeans is there's expectations now. NOPA crush, which released tomorrow, is estimated at 171.337 million bushels. If that were to be where it comes in at or similar at that area, it would be the second largest crush on record for the month of July. So that provides some support. We did see some daily export sales of 416,000 metric tons of soybeans to unknown. So provides some support. When we look at the export inspections for today, somewhat non-issue for corn, beans, a little bit negative to wheat. Corn was 15.7 million bushels, up 400,000 bushels from the previous week. Soybeans at 10.9 million bushels, up 500,000 bushels. And wheat at 6.7 million bushels, down 4 million bushels from the previous week. Now, there was a report of China's soybean imports are up 15% for the first 7 months of the year relative to the year before. That certainly is good, but there's a majority of that business has been coming from Brazil so far. Now, last week there were on some of the export sales, we did see China, or some of the daily exports last week showed China was a little bit of buying from the U.S., but they have turned more of their attention toward Brazil, and that's an anchor on our demand, but still soybeans are seeming to hold up fairly well. Now, CONAB revised Brazilian corn production to 100.18 million tons, and that's a new record. Exports have been revised to 50 million tons, and this could put their ending stocks at 10.5 million tons, up 28% from a year ago. So they've got a significant amount of corn volume there, amount of corn that can move to the export market, which could hurt our exports of corn, which that has been trending lower. Soybeans have been trending lower for the last numerous years already. So when we're looking at that, we're seeing the strength in the soy complex. And in the corn, wheat, they follow each other. They're on the other side of the spectrum. So we did see a mixed bag today, but the gain in soybeans is basically putting us in a position where, with possibly 4 million less acres, current variability as far as production is concerned, a little bit of decreasing of the ending stocks could be beneficial.
So taking a look at the livestock side of things, Robin, what did we see on that part of the marketplace?
Well, one thing we saw was a lot of pressure coming in on the whole complex today. Not quite so much on live cattle, more on feeder cattle and hogs. It was a slow day in general in live cattle. Didn't see a lot of real movement as far as volatility is concerned. What we do is know that feedlots and the packers are playing hardball. I mean, we've seen that the last couple of weeks. We did see some cash trade steady to as much as $3 higher in the north last week, but there was very limited trade. So now we're entering into another week, probably about the fourth week, where trade went down to a Friday before it actually took place. Packers, they continue to reduce some slaughter pace because they want to try to improve their margins, and they're having a difficult time doing that, especially when we're seeing some of the cutouts, or I shouldn't say cutouts, the box beef struggling. Now, we did see box beef up 268 on choice today, select up 238 on the morning report. We might be seeing some strength in both categories as we get the final print for the day, but there's a real uncertainty from traders as far as how this market is going to unfold here. Now, feeder cattle, we're under more pressure today, even with a little weaker corn price. They had a little bit more volatility. They will take their cue from the live cattle complex. Hogs were under pressure, other than for the front month August, which goes off the board today. That was about 15 cents higher, but the rest of the hogs were significantly lower. Triple-digit losses, and the most loss coming into October, which is going to be front month tomorrow. They were under pressure early this morning because of the weakness, or the cutout weakness on Friday, and a little bit lower cash. There was not anticipated much really packer interest in buying today. However, if we take a cue off what the morning report showed, we're going to potentially see a nice increase in cash today. The National Direct Morning Hog Report was up $4.73, which would indicate the over weekend demand was probably fairly good. And morning cutouts, we were looking at a $7.70 increase in price. So I'm sure we're going to see some higher prices come the final print for the day, but even with this, it has not been able to turn the tide of the hogs, because there's just an increase of caution from the traders because of the volatility we've seen lately in cutout prices, and again, demand that we're going to be seeing as we move toward the end of the year. Now, October taking over tomorrow as front month, there's a $21 discount to where August is going off the board and where cash is. That's going to be a huge gap in there that's got to be made up one way or the other. We just hope that we don't see the real weakness coming in on demand side.
So a lot of things for us to think about here today, Robin, and folks want to pick the brains of everybody up there at agmarket.net. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can call me directly at 877-256-3253, or go to our website. There's a 844 number on there. Call in. You'll be able to get someone who's free.
All right, Robin, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you, and have a good time at the rest of the fair.
That, of course, was Robin Schmall of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers. Those come to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. September corn was up 1 1/4 at $4.75 3/4. December new crop up 1/2 at $4.87 3/4. September beans up 15 3/4 at $13.53 even. November up 18 1/2 at $13.26 even. Soybean meal was up $5 at $4.15.30 per ton. Soy oil up 92 cents at $65.05. Chicago wheat down 12 1/4 at $6.41 1/2. Minneapolis down 10 1/4 at $8.20 even. Kansas wheat down 6 3/4. That is at $7.59 1/4. December oats up 6 3/4 at $4.43 3/4. August live cattle 62 cents lower at $179.75. August feeders $1.52 lower at $246.22. Lean hogs up 15 cents for August at the close at $102.25. Pork cutouts down a dime at $111 even. Class 3 milk is down 4 cents at $17.28. And that's been a check of our market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Theresa Greenfield, Iowa State Director of USDA Rural Development. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Of course, you don't have to turn very far on the state fairgrounds to find food in some way, shape, or form. The smells come to us no matter the time of day or how warm or cold it is. It's just always a bombardment of all those delicious smells. But of course, this is just the end result of the food chain, and we did see obviously some needs to rethink about how the food chain works, and that was very apparent during the pandemic. I talked with Iowa State Rural Development USDA Director Theresa Greenfield to find out what they've been working on and what message they're giving to the consumers here in Iowa. 2023 Iowa State Fair, talking right now with Theresa Greenfield of the USDA here in Iowa. Great to have you here at the fair visiting with us today.
Nice to be here, Dustin. So glad I walked by and found a little time on your schedule.
Oh, definitely. And so what we're going to be talking about today is obviously something that parades right by us all day at the tent. We can smell it from everywhere, and that's the food. When I say you smell it from everywhere, it's the food. And of course, that's a big part of the Iowa State Fair. Yep. It's also a big part of agriculture and what we showcase here at the fair. USDA has been putting a lot of work into the infrastructure, all the stuff behind the scenes of food production, but also making it more lucrative for farmers to be able to produce that food. Tell us about what's going on this year.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, because, you know, feeding our local communities, feeding our state, and feeding the world, that is something we do at USDA by supporting our producers and our small businesses around the state and around the country. And one of the priorities of the Biden administration and their Invest in America agenda has been to invest in food transformation. So whether that's investing in local foods, supporting field to family food hub in Iowa City, for example, connecting 60 immigrant farmers to a market, or whether it's helping expand our meat processing plants. We just gave an $8 million grant to Upper Iowa Beef up in Lime Springs. I'm so excited for them. Yeah, they're going to expand, awesome. Create jobs, but even better, those independent producers, beef growers, they're going to have a place to take their homegrown products. So food, we're working on it.
And the thing that's interesting, you know, you brought up meat processing. The pandemic really shone a light on everything that was needed to be improved in the food. Not saying that we didn't see coming, it just really highlighted the glaring vacancies in the middle of the food chain. Obviously, we saw a big call for the return of the local butcher shop, the local meat locker. I mean, that's been a lot of work put into that as well to get that food directly from the farmers, because the farmers couldn't sell at the time. People were trying to sell hogs out of their barn or cattle just because they needed to get rid of them. They couldn't keep them that long either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So Secretary Vilsack has been focused on our resiliency within our food supply chain, and there's a number of resources there, but those local lockers, those are the best. And I have had the chance to visit a couple of them. Intveld Meats, if you haven't been there in Pella, you got to get there.
You're going to have to get there, yeah.
But we were able to help them out with a $200,000 grant that they use to then buy some processing equipment, which allows them to process more and sell locally. And so that's just one great example of how USDA is investing in our food supply chain across Iowa, across the country.
And another thing, when we have an event like the Iowa State Fair, this is our chance to showcase what we do, but also to educate those consumers. And I'm sure USDA has been very involved in that as well, is to help tell that story of the Iowa farmer so the people understand where the food comes from.
Yep, we do our very best. I invite everybody to stop up at our booth just up the hill here. You can learn more about raising your own food. You can see our Monarch exhibit. It's pretty cool because conservation is part of food production. Yes. Climate change, climate action, being smart about our climate environment. That's part of food production. And so we're involved in all of those things, from local food to meat processing to climate smart ag.
Exactly, and we've been seeing such a wide acceptance starting to grow, people realizing that to save the land, to preserve the things that we rely on in nature to take care of our land, we've got to be responsible with it, we've got to do better by it, and we've got to learn how to use the products we need to use, because that's also the bane of our existence sometimes in agriculture. There are things we just can't get by without using, but how to use them responsibly.
For sure. And you know, I will tell you what, Iowa producers and our small businesses, they're like the most innovative in the world. And so they are out there testing. How can we be more environmentally friendly? How can we be more climate smart and conscious in what we do, whether it's cover crops or precision ag? And every step of the way, USDA, whether it's through rural development, FSA, NRCS, and all of our mission areas are there to support our agriculture system. And not only our system, but we want our big producers to be successful, but we're really focusing on how we can help our small and medium-sized producers create more revenue streams, earn more income, and then spend that income in their hometowns.
Definitely. And of course, you know, going beyond even the food production, well, it's still a central part of it. I mean, USDA just opened up CRP grazing to allow that to happen, because feeding these animals is the utmost importance as well.
Yep, that's right. That's right. I hope I'm going to mention to my NRCS people to stop on down here and maybe chat with you a little further about that.
Yeah.
Because it is very important. We need to raise the animals. We need to have the processing. We need to have the local food systems to market and make sure that that food is getting on the kitchen tables for consumers right here in Iowa.
And of course, also USDA, I know, involved in making sure that helping get farmers markets going around the state as well. I mean, Des Moines, we're pretty spoiled on having one, but
Yes.
there are several towns that have those as well that are able to have that because of the programs the USDA has.
Yep, that's right, that's right. You know, one of the things we've been working really hard on is what's called our Value Added Producer Grant. And so we're working with small producers across the state. The Schulte Dairy Farm, for example, in Norway, gave them a grant, and they're looking to expand and build a creamery as part of their dairy. And they're going to be able to sell those products right there at their local farmers market, or maybe they'll take them to a bigger town too, or they also got high-speed internet through our Reconnect program, so maybe they'll be selling it online.
There we go. That's always good. So I got 2 questions left for you. Let's remind, first of all, visitors of the fair where you guys are located at.
We are located right up the hill in the Ag Building, 2nd floor. You're going to have to walk past the biggest pumpkin and the butter cow to get there.
Okay. We're going to be there anyway, right? So you've got to,
right.
It's just a little bit out of the way. So the next question I got to have, we've been talking about food, and it is the Iowa State Fair. I make a habit of asking everybody this. It's almost lunchtime. Where are you going to be going? What's the first thing Theresa Greenfield's got to get when she comes to the fair?
Well, I didn't wait for lunch. I went right to my pork chop on a stick.
There you go. There you go.
Here.
That's usually the first place a lot of people go. Well, Theresa, we thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Thanks, Dustin. It's been a pleasure.
That again was Iowa State USDA Rural Development Director Theresa Greenfield. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. As you can see, definitely overcast skies for much of the day today here at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. It's a lot cooler though, as temperatures are barely making their way into the 70s today. We could even see some mid-40s in some places in the state tonight. But of course, August is not going to let go, and summer's not going to let go anytime soon. In fact, some of those warmer temps are going to be back as soon as Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. So what's the next 24 hours look like? Well, let's take a look at what the National Weather Service has to say. Well, we're definitely setting up for a few days of cooler and milder weather here at the Iowa State Fair and across the state. Today, it's going to be mostly cloudy to partly sunny, depending on your philosophical leanings. A few peaks of sun and maybe some scattered rain showers. Highs will be in the upper 60s to the mid-70s. Now, tonight, clouds will start to push away from the west. We'll see lows in the upper 40s to around 58 degrees. And then tomorrow, going to warm up a little bit. Clouds will finish pushing off to the east. We'll see mostly sunny skies tomorrow across the state. Highs will be anywhere from the upper 70s to the low 80s. Now taking a look at the affiliate weather map for you tomorrow, pretty well cookie cutter across the state. Shenandoah will be sunny and 77. Cherokee, Albia, and Clinton all coming in sunny and 79. Des Moines and Waterloo tomorrow will also still be sunny and 81 degrees. Definitely milder temperatures out there for the Iowa State Fair and for everything you got going on across the state. And for a more detailed forecast in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And with that, that's a check of our ag weather outlook and the end of our show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified each time we put up a new video project, including some of those interviews we did with some of the Iowa Governor's Charity Steers Show contestants. You can also check out our free market podcasts on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Hoffman for Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson. We thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.